All right, let's get right into it. If your company is using AI in any way that makes decisions about people, hiring, lending, you name it, then you're dealing with one of the biggest business risks out there today, AI bias. And look, this isn't some abstract tech problem for the IT department. This is a bottom-line, legal, and reputational threat. In this briefing, we're going to break down exactly what this risk is and give you a clear, manageable framework to get it under control.
I love this analogy because it just clicks. It gets to the heart of the matter so perfectly. See, AI isn't inherently biased. It doesn't have opinions. It just learns, and it learns from the data we give it. And if that data is a snapshot of our own messy, biased history, well, the AI is going to learn all those old, unfair patterns and then apply them with ruthless, algorithmic efficiency.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down what we actually mean by bias in this context. Then we'll talk about the very real costs of getting this wrong. After that, we'll pinpoint exactly where this bias creeps in, lay out a straightforward 3-stage defense plan, and wrap up with a super practical checklist of what you need to have on hand.
Okay, first things first, we need to get one thing crystal clear. Not all mistakes an AI makes are created equal. An AI making a random mistake, that's a performance bug. An AI making the same kind of mistake over and over again for the same group of people, that is a legal and ethical time bomb.
So what are we really talking about with AI bias? It's not a random glitch, it's systematic, meaning it's a repeatable, predictable pattern. It's directional, meaning it consistently punches down, disadvantaging specific groups. And, crucially, it's learned from historical data that has the fingerprints of past societal discrimination all over it.
And this lays it out perfectly. A random error is like a typo. It can happen to anyone. Maybe your hiring AI accidentally overlooks a great resume from any background. Annoying, but fair. Bias, on the other hand, is directional. It's when that same AI consistently overlooks great resumes from, say, female applicants or applicants from a specific neighborhood. That's the pattern. And that pattern of unfairness is what's going to get you into serious trouble.
Okay, so let's talk about what happens when this goes wrong. Because ignoring AI bias isn't just bad practice, it's a massive business liability with very, very sharp teeth.
If you do any business in Europe, this number should stop you in your tracks. Under the EU's new AI Act, the fines are absolutely massive. We're talking up to 35 million euros, or, and you really need to hear this, up to 7% of your company's total global revenue. That's not a fine. That is a catastrophic financial event.
And hey, don't think this is just a European issue. This is happening right now, right here in the US. We've already seen regulatory settlements blow past the $30 million mark for companies whose algorithms were found to be discriminatory in areas like lending. The precedent is being set, and regulators are actively hunting for these cases. And this is the legal concept that powers it all: disparate impact. Here's what that means in plain English. Your intentions do not matter at all. You can say you wanted your AI to be fair all day long, but if the outcome is that it disadvantages a protected group, you are legally on the hook. We didn't mean for that to happen is simply not a defense. So how do you know if you're sitting on a time bomb? Just ask yourself these two simple questions. 1. Does our AI make high-stakes decisions about people's lives? Think hiring, promotions, credit scores. 2. Did we train this AI on data from past human decisions? If you answered yes to both, you legally require a formal bias management program. It is not a nice-to-have, it's mandatory. All right, we know what bias is, and we know why it's a huge risk. But where the heck does it actually come from? Well, it's not just one single point of failure. Bias can sneak in at 3 very different stages of the process.
First, you've got the training data itself, the most obvious source. If the past was biased, the data is biased. Simple as that. Second, the algorithm can actually amplify tiny biases it finds, and it's brilliant at finding hidden proxies for things like race or gender. And third, even after you launch the AI, it can create these nasty feedback loops where its own biased decisions just make the problem worse and worse over time. And this brings us to probably the single biggest and most dangerous myth in this whole field. A lot of people think, hey, we'll just delete the race and gender columns from our data, and poof, problem solved. That is completely 100% wrong. AI models are masters at detective work. They will find proxies, things like a person's zip code, their first name, the college they went to, that are so tightly correlated with those protected groups that they might as well be the real thing.
So, what do we do about it? How do you actually fight back? Well, there's no magic bullet. The answer is a disciplined, systematic defense plan that covers the entire AI lifecycle from start to finish.
Here's the framework. It's 3 essential stages. 1. You test for bias before the model ever sees the light of day. That's your bias on it. 2. You continuously monitor it for fairness after it's live because things can and do change. And 3. You establish clear governance. Someone has to own this. You have to know who's accountable. You need all 3 of these pillars or the whole thing falls apart.
Now here's where it gets really interesting and frankly a bit tricky. The word fairness isn't one single thing. You can define it mathematically in several different ways. Do you want equal outcomes for all groups? Or do you want the model to be equally accurate for all groups? Here's the catch. A famous proof shows that it's mathematically impossible to maximize all these definitions of fairness at the same time. This means you, as a business, have to make a conscious choice about which kind of fairness is most important for your specific situation.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Let's say a regulator does come knocking. What are they actually going to ask to see? I can tell you right now, they're not interested in your good intentions. They want to see the paperwork.
These are the 5 documents you have to have in your back pocket. A risk assessment that shows you actually thought about the potential for harm. An inventory that proves you looked for those sneaky proxies. A scorecard with the actual fairness numbers. A policy that defines what level of disparity your company finds acceptable. And finally, a log that shows you're actually watching the system in production. This isn't just paperwork. This is your proof of due diligence.
So if you take away just one thing, let it be this. The goal here isn't to achieve some kind of impossible, perfect fairness. The legal and ethical standard is a good faith, systematic, and, most importantly, documented effort to find the bias, measure it, and take real steps to reduce it. It's all about the process and your ability to prove you have one.
And so I'll just leave you with this one final thought. If your phone rang this afternoon and it was a regulator asking to see the bias audit for your most important AI model, what exactly would you be able to show them? The honest answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know about how prepared you really are.